Kenneth, hello, Claire. Very pleased to meet
Nice
you.
to see you.
Thank you. Now, Sir Lawrence, would I be right in saying he's at a crossroads in his career when we see him in the film?
In the film he is, yeah. He's the most respected and admired actor in the world, but he wants to be more current and more sort of edgy, and so he is thrilled to be working with the biggest movie star in the world, Marilyn Monroe, at the height of her fame, arriving at Heathrow and stopping traffic. It's a gridlock when she arrives, and that's pretty much what happens for the rest of the time. It's a kind of a gridlock personality-wise. They just don't get on. Their working methods are opposed. He's a disciplinarian. If he says 8 o'clock, that's when you get there. She gets there when the muse strikes her, when the feeling is with her. And of course, in the end result, when she gets it right, it's so wonderful. Someone says in the film, when she gets it right, you don't look at anybody else. That's great news for Laurence Olivier, the director. It's not great news for Laurence Olivier, the actor, because he's in the scene with her. That was tough for him.
Was it interesting for you as an actor exploring the relationship between the two?
It was fascinating because it was at its most extreme, this idea of the method, people who get totally into character and need to feel it, prepare it, bring up sense memory. She had an acting coach the whole time, Paula Strasberg. When Marilyn wanted to convey being in love, Paula Strasberg says, think of the things that you love, Coca-Cola, Frank Sinatra. Olivier's hearing this and saying, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't you just play the scene? Why don't you just say, I love, why don't you just pretend? And so that sort of clash and his frustration at it was very fascinating. And, I have unusual experience of directing films that I've acted in, and so I could to some extent feel his pain. I've never had anybody behave quite as Marilyn did, but you start to learn as a director, it's whatever it takes, and in the end the audience don't know that you had a bad day. They only know if the scene is good or the performance is good, and Marilyn turned out to give a fantastic performance.
Well, you touched upon it, because you've acted and directed yourself. Did that allow you then just to be able to concentrate on playing Olivia? And I have to say, you were wonderful, because it really looked like I was looking at Olivia on screen.
Thank you very much. We had a great director in Simon Curtis, and I was actually finishing directing Thor for Marvel at the time, and there was something very good about directing a movie and being a little crazed. So I'd leave the set at Pinewood at 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. I would drive to Shepperton, where the Marvel boyos were and where my composer Patrick Doyle was, and we'd do another 2 or 3 hours. We'd be watching rushes late at night, visual effects shots, and doing conference calls with Hollywood. So I had a little bit of that going on anyway, but with Simon at the helm, I was able to just concentrate on playing Olivier. So when I went in, started listening to him, reading the Bible as I put on the makeup and everything for a couple of hours. For the rest of the day, I never went near a phone or any other kind of distraction. I loved just being him and in the real place, whether it was the house in Windsor where she lived or Pinewood Studios where they made the film. It was a real immersion kind of experience. Yeah, and that was fun. So one felt as though one was in the presence of ghosts, walking in the footsteps of the great, and that was it was a very enjoyable experience.